real cases before a real judge.
Plaintiff Sean Hoff was best friends with the defendant, and they started living together after the defendant kicked his pain pill addiction. Sean says the defendant constantly brought women home whom he met on the internet, and he suspects one of them was a transvestite. Sean is suing for unpaid rent. Defendant Rob Fisher says Sean's mission in life is to become famous, and he tries to sneak onto any red carpet he can just to make his dream come true. Rob does not believe he owes Sean.
Let me hear from you first.
Okay, well, they say never let your friends become your roommates because that's when you really get to know someone, and boy, did I. I'm actually here to give my friend a second chance after kicking his painkiller addiction, but he's honestly as lazy now after the addiction than he was when he was on it. So it started back in 2008. He was in a car accident and got hooked on painkillers. Because of the painkiller addiction, he lost his job. He was showing up to work lazy. He was showing up not on time. Anyway, he got fired from his job. Checked himself into rehab after that, after advice from his friends and family. Then moved into sober living. After the sober living ran out, he had nowhere to go. His only option was to move back home. So as a good friend, I invited him to live on my couch for a few months, get his life back together, get a job, get a new job. He was sober, you know. And that's when all the weird roommate behavior started. There was
like what?
Weirdest living habits. He would meet girls like online. They'd come stay.
He met girls online too.
That's not the point. I pay.
Well, I'm saying the same thing. I'm with you.
But I paid the rent.
But you act like what he did was so weird and awkward. And you doing the same thing.
But they came in spurts. Like he'd have 3 Asian girls over one week, and then he went through like a sister phase where like I'd come home.
He'd have 3 Asian girls,
and then there was a sister phase.
3D.
What's wrong? I don't see anything wrong with that. I wasn't hurting them.
We can take that a few different ways, so go ahead.
Just weird behavior. He had this thing with penguins. I would check my pay-per-view statements, and he ordered Happy Feet, and he wasn't paying rent, and just weird things. Would run up the AC bill and sitting in the air, like my apartment was like an ice box. It was like the weirdest. Anyway, after about a year, we've more than outgrown each other.
You went through that for a year?
He's my best friend. I've known the kid for 8 years.
But would you at least turn the air down and...
I would do that, but after it's been on for 8 hours when I was working, it was like an ice box.
Plaintiff Sean Hoff says while living with the defendant, he constantly brought home women whom he met on the internet. And Sean suspects one of them was a transvestite.
Go ahead.
So about after a year, we totally outgrown each other. We moved into a 3-bedroom with another friend of ours. He had recently got a job in December, so had a few months to save up for some rent. This was in February when we moved into the 3-bedroom. It was approximately $1,800 for all 3 rooms, so about $600 a room. I told him I would pay for half of his room.
Okay, before we get into the specifics of the rent you're suing him for, let me allow him to give some background. Sir?
Yeah, this guy over here, I mean, I love him to death, but he's the kind of person that... You ever hear those people that sneak onto red carpets and stuff like that? He's Mr. Hollywood. He wants everyone to know who he is.
Get in the White House yet?
He's famous.
Not yet.
I'm sure he's on it. He's well on his way.
I'm working on it.
We met. We were in a band in 2002, and he used to tell people we weren't even in the band we were in. He would tell people we were in bigger bands and play music to people. I mean, this is the kind of guy he is. He likes to show off. He likes, and he was my friend, so I wasn't going to call him out about it.
What city you guys live in?
Los Angeles.
Oh, there's plenty of red carpets.
Yeah. So I'm just saying. He's the kind of person that, when I first met him, he was down and out, kind of. He didn't have a job for the first couple of years that I knew him.
You drove a Geo.
I like my Geo. I had good air conditioning.
I know you're an air-conditioned man from what we hear. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I sweat. But,
Especially when he had them 3 Asians over there.
They dig the gas.
I'm sure one was a transvestite, by the way.
He's obsessed with trannies. He used to send me photos and be like, can you guess which one? Is it a tranny or is it a girl? So that's his little weird thing. I don't even want to get into that. Anyway, so I mean, that's just kind of but so we had a falling out. And then
No. Let's back up to your living habits. Any of that true?
Well, I mean, I Yeah, I mean, I had girls over. I had the AC on. You know, I like Happy Feet. I like March of the Penguins. Like, I had some bad luck. It was very hard for me to find work, and I was getting unemployment, and he wanted me to find a job like flipping burgers when I got more in unemployment, but then he was pissed off that I was home all day.
Okay, so since the government would give you more money to stay at home,
I was looking for other jobs.
sir, let me understand what you're saying. Let's do the analysis here. Since the government would give you more money staying home, you decided not to go out and get a less paying job.
Yes, I did.
Right.
I did.
What about 2 small jobs?
No, I was applying.
You'd rather stay home and get that government
It was
money.
demeaning to me.
All right, just trying to get an understanding. Here we got a guy who's at least admitting, I'd rather stay at home and get government money than to go out and get a job. Good enough. Glad you admit it. At least you're honest. All right.
I was looking for. I was going on interviews for other jobs.
Right. No, but you said if you had an opportunity
Yeah.
to work, and since it was less than what the government would give you, you decided to lay up on the government.
Yep.
And then I said, well, what about 2 small jobs? Wouldn't that have equaled or surpassed the amount? So why won't you take 2 small jobs? Nope, won't do that. I'd rather lay up on the government. All right. Let me hear from you on the rent specifically.
So when we moved into the 3-bedroom, is about $600 for each room, just 3 rooms. For the first year, I said I would pay for half of his rent so he can get, because he did get a job in December. We moved in February, so that was a few months. He had tons of back dues, car notes, all kinds of stuff. So I said, I'll pay half your rent for a year so you can kind of just get back on your feet. So his car was about to get impounded. There were collection agencies calling the house, threatening to show up and impound his car. I didn't want him to lose his car. So I said, pay me back when you get it. After the first month in February, when he couldn't even give me the $275, the half, I had him sign a promissory note just to kind of protect myself.
You see it?
Plaintiff Sean Hobbs says while living with the defendant, he constantly brought home women whom he met on the internet.
Sir, do you owe this amount of money based on the rent?
You know what? To me, I always thought the arrangement was like a friendly one.
Yeah.
Well, here's
Those
the thing.
are the only people who will loan you money. Are your
here's
friends?
the thing. It's not like I was ducking the guy. It's not like he was a bookie. If I ever was going to come up with $3,000 to pay him back all at once, I would do it. If
You couldn't do it all at once. How much have you paid him?
Not much. I let him keep the cash. He sold some of my stuff.
Okay, you say
when
not
we were done.
much. How much exactly?
$50.
That's already deducted off the total.
And this was over a year ago, and you've only paid him $50. Yet part of your defense is, hey, I can't come up with the $3,000. If I could, I'd pay him. Surely you wouldn't, because you've only given him $50 in an entire year, and I'm sure you could come up with more than $50 within an entire year. So you don't seem to be committed to paying your friend who you owe over $3,000 to, or do you owe that amount? You're admitting this doesn't quite have an amount, sir.
I sent him an email. I also have a copy of that in which he responded, acknowledging that he owes it, but was embarrassed that did not have it.
Sir, do you admit owing this amount?
Yeah, well, it was more just I more of an apology. Like, I wish I could pay it, but I can't.
I'll get to your statement. As of next Tuesday, you owe me over $3,000, and that's crazy. I can't keep doing this. This is what he's saying to you. And you say, yeah, dude, I'm sorry. I get it. I was embarrassed because I didn't have it. I promise you I will pay you rent on the 4th when I get paid.
From the government.
After that, from the government, right? After that, I will have to look at how much money I'm going to have. At no point do you say, I don't owe you that much. At no point do you say, well, I'm just going to give you a little bit because I feel bad. At no point do you deny it, sir. He says you owe me $3,000 and you apologize for not paying it. And then you say you will pay it when you get paid. And after that, you're going to see how much money you're going to have.
The $50 was from a mattress I sold that was his, that he wouldn't even sell on Craigslist when we were moving out of that place. So I kept the $50 from the mattress sale that was his mattress.
2 years. Yeah. You lay up in his house, don't do any work, don't do anything, eat all your food,
eat
no
all
doubt.
My food, the Asian girls over.
Got all kind of women coming in and out. Then you lay up on the government, get checks from them because you don't want to work because the money isn't enough. And then you come in here and don't want to pay the man. You are what they describe as trifling. That's the definition. That's the definition.
I am working. I've been
Still
working
got
the
your
last
Asian
9
girls?
Yeah, they're all there. I got plenty. Got plenty.
Huh?
Got plenty.
Hey, not Asian.
They're whatever they. I don't care. I don't discriminate.
Good. All right. There you go. No discrimination. There you go. A woman is a woman. That's right. No matter what race, creed, or color. All right. $3,300 is your judgment, sir.
Thank you.
You tell him how much he owes. You say over $3 grand. He says, I'm sorry, and I will pay you. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
As long as I get my money, it's all good. I mean, money, they say, is the root of all evil, but we've been best friends for about 8 years, so.
I'm sorry. I was a screw up, but that's just kind of how it was. Still love you no matter what, even after this, but guess I got to pay you.